Jai Hind students, you are welcome once again. Let us begin the concluding part of the story, The Third Level by Jack Finney. And so we are today we are going to begin this story from where we had left in our previous class. So first of all, let me share the story with you on your screen. Now here you can see that we have to begin from here. That let us take the previous two lines. The envelope is called first day cover. We have seen that what is the first day cover here in the paragraph. It is given there, as I told in you. I told to you in the previous class, because this is a question which has already been asked in board examination. What is the first day cover? Please, you can get the answer from here and note it down. And so the envelope is called first day cover. They are never opened, and you just put a blank paper in the envelope. This much we had studied. Now let us begin from here, from this paragraph. That night, among my oldest first day covers, I found one that shouldn't have been there. And now here the narrator says that night, among my oldest first day covers, that night when he went to see his oldest first day covers, then he found one that shouldn't have been there. And he found first day cover, one first day cover, first day that envelope which should not be there in his oldest collection. Why it should not be there? But there it was. But he says that should not be there, but it was there in his stamp collections. It was there because someone had mailed it to my grandfather at his home in Galesburg. Now he says that why it was there. It was there that first day, a letter was there among his oldest first day covers, and it was there because someone had mailed it, had sent it to his grandfather at his home in Galesburg. It was means the address was given of his grandfather who was living in Galesburg, and that's what the address on the envelope said. And that address means his grandfather's address was written there in the envelope, and that's why he came to know that it was sent to that letter was sent to his grandfather's address to him. And it had been there since July 18, 1894. The postmark showed that. And it was that letter was there in his stamp collection, oldest stamp collections, since July 18, 1894, means almost a century back. And the postmark showed that, and the postmark showed the date. The postmark proved the date that the letter was sent in July 18, 1894. Yet I didn't remember it at all. But means he had seen so many times that his stamp collections, but it was not there, means he had not seen there. It was quite surprising for him. The stamp was a 6-cent dull brown. The stamp which was pasted on it, on the envelope, on the letter, that was a 6-cent stamp, and it was of dull brown in color, and with a picture of President Garfield. At that time, that president, that USA president was Garfield. So his Garfield President Garfield's picture was there on the stamp. Naturally, when the envelope came to Granddad in the mail, it went right into his collection and stayed there. And now he says that in this way, when it was sent, the letter was envelope was sent to his to the address of his grandfather. Uh, Envelope came to Granddad in the mail, so it went right into, and since it was sent to his grandfather's address, so it directly went into his collection and stayed there. And from that time onwards it was staying there until I took it out and opened it. Means until he took that out and opened it, it was lying there in the collection. The paper inside wasn't blank, and but generally the first day cover had a blank paper inside the envelope, but when he opened it, when Charlie the narrator opened that envelope, the paper inside wasn't blank, it was not blank. Some content was written there inside the envelope, and it read, and what was the matter? Some matter was written there, and what was that matter? What was that content? He reads it. And now remember student, this letter is very important. The content of the letter is very important. Just you keep in your mind that you have to understand that what was the letter. This question can also be asked, that what was the content of the letter. So just keep focusing on the letter. And first of all, in the content, the letter was the address was given, and it was 941 Willard Street, Galesburg, Illinois. Means the address was of Galesburg, Illinois, where his granddad was living, and July 18, and it was posted on, it was written on July 18, 1894. He belonged to the 20th century. The narrator Charlie belonged to the 20th century, but the letter which he received, it was written on July 18, 1894, almost a century back. And the letter, another important, interesting thing was in the letter that it was addressed to Charlie. Means a century back it was written, but it was addressed to a man who belongs to the modern day, who belongs to the 20th century. Means Charlie, the narrator. So it was addressed to Charlie. It was written, Charlie, I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing you were right. And now first of all, it was hoped that I got to wish, means Charlie was wished by the sender that you were right, and he hoped that, means Charlie would have been right, would have been all right. And then I got to believe you were right, and it was also hoped that he would not have faced any problem, means he would have been all right. And like the formality in the beginning, so that was there. And Charlie, it's true, and then it reads that the Charlie, it's true, means it is true, I found the third level. And then the sender had written that it was true when he was thinking about the third level, means he was talking about saying that he had got the third level. Nobody believed, but in the letter it was written that it's true that there is the third level, and I found the third level, and that the the sender, who is the sender is Sam, his psychiatrist friend. Later on it is given that the sender told that he had found the third level, and it is the reality that the third level exists there. And I have been here 2 weeks. and right now down the street at the dailies someone is playing a piano. And now it was mentioned that he had been there uh, for 2 weeks, and right now down the street means there was a street at the dailies. At dailies street someone is playing a piano. Someone was playing in a very relaxed way, because that was means that was the place in 1894. That was the place of relax. The place was a very fancy and very romantic place. And then that he says in the letter that someone was playing piano, and they are all out on the front porch singing Sing Valley song. This is the line of the song. And then he said that someone is playing piano in a very relaxed mood, and they are means other people are on their porch, on their front porch, and they are singing Sing Nelly Home song. Means it was a place of, it was a very peaceful, very comfortable place, and where all the people had all the time, had a lot of time. They could sing, they could spend time among one another, and even they had the time to um, to play piano, to sing songs uh, on the front of their porch. And I am invited over for lemonade. Lemonade means that is a drink, means a drink party, we can say. There was a drink party, and he also, the narrator of the letter, the sender of the letter, had also told that he had also been invited on a drink party. And come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. And then that they had been, means he had invited Charlie and his wife Louisa, that just you keep on looking looking for the third level, Charlie and Louisa, and you find the third level, means keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. And it was hope that they will also be, Charlie and Louisa will also be able to get the third level, because that third level exists, and they should not lose hope. Rather, they keep on looking, keep on searching for the third level, and one day they will be able to get it and reach the place at the Galesburg, Illinois, because it was a very fancy, very romantic place, a very peaceful and relaxed place. The note is signed Sam. Now the third important, very interesting and surprising thing for the Charlie, that it was written, the letter was written by Sam Winner, his psychiatrist friend. At the stamp and coin store I go to, I found out that Sam bought $800 worth of old style currency. And after that, after receiving the letter from Sam, that he was quite surprised, and then that he next he went to the stamp and coin store, and where that money, currency had been exchanged. And I go to, means when he went there at the stamp and coin store, then he found that Sam had bought $800 worth of old style currency. And then he found that Sam, his psychiatrist friend, had had bought $800 of old currency. He had bought old currency of $800, and that ought to set him in a nice little hay, feed and grain business. And now remember, students, he was a psychiatrist. Sam Weiner was a psychiatrist, but he had taken that money, exchanged that money with the old currency, and that ought to set him means that money was sufficient to set him up in a nice little hay, and feed business, hay and feed and grain business. And he always said that's what he really wished he could do, because, and the narrator also says that, because both of the narrator was usually talking with him about the Galesburg, Illinois, about that uh, about the place, about the surrounding, and it was quite a peaceful place. So then means Sam also knew everything, and that's why that he had taken that much money, that old currency of $800, and that was sufficient for him to start a hay, feed and grain business, a new business of hay, feed and grain. Because that here what he was a psychiatrist, because that in modern world, he was living in modern world, and it was full of stress, full of fear, full of war, full of crowd, full of rush, and that's why that here that business was successful. As a psychiatrist, he was successful here, but there was no place for any kind of stress, any kind of sadness, and that's why this business was not profitable there in Galesburg, Illinois of 1894, and that's why that he had started a new business of selling hay, feed and grain. He always said that's what he really wished he could do. And while they both were talking, so the same keep on telling him that if he will go there, then he will start this new business of hay, feed and grain. And that's what he was doing, that because he always wanted to do this business. And he certainly can't go back to his old business. Now that there is a question, this is an important line, and means a question can be asked, that why the same that who was a psychiatrist, he can't go back to his old business, because there was no one required that business there, because the people were leading their life very comfortably, very peacefully. There is no stress, there is no sadness, there is no fear there. So that's why that business which he was doing in the contemporary world of 20th century, that was not successful there, and that's why he had started, because that's why it is said that he can't go back to his old business, and not in Galesburg, Illinois in 1894, because that business was not profitable for him. So his old business, and why Sam was my psychiatrist friend. And now the next surprising thing that Charlie says, that Sam was his psychiatrist friend, to whom that he was sharing all his experiences of the third level and Galesburg, Illinois. In this way, we came to the end of this story, the third level, and where the Charlie kept on transporting himself from present world to the past world, and then comes back. Now let us see, students, let us discuss some of the important questions. Let me tell you, because this chapter had already been taught, I hope that you would have already done those questions at that time also, when this chapter was taught through WhatsApp. At that time also I told you the important questions. I hope that you would have done that. And now here we can see that see the first question: do you think that the third level was a medium of escape for Charlie? Why? Third level was a medium of escape for Charlie. Why? So definitely that the question answer you can give to this, because the third level, and it actually that the author Jack Finney interweaves the fantasy and reality through this story. And the third level is nothing but a product of Charlie's own mind, and it is certainly a medium of escape for Charlie, because Charlie lives in the modern world, where the life is full of insecurity, fear, war, worries, stress, sadness, and where that the people have to always face such kind of problems in their day-to-day life, their practical life, and the harsh realities of life make living quite unpleasant and even unbearable. And that's why that Charlie always wanted to escape from this modern world, as he finds himself unable to cope with the reality of the contemporary world. And the compulsions of modern life made Charlie escape into the world of fancy and romance, uh, like the world which his father used to live in 1894. And that's why, means including these points, that you can complete this story, because he was, especially in one line, that he was unable to cope with the harsh realities of modern day-to-day life. That's why he wanted to escape from the present world to the past world of 1894. What do you info from Sam's letter to Charlie, that you can do that? What is that the what has been told in the letter, means from the content of the letter, on the basis of the content of the letter written by Sam to Charlie, that you can answer this question. Now the third question which I wanted to discuss, especially that this one, the third one, is important. Now remember students, that this question had already been asked in previous year, last year in 1920. This question was asked, that sorry, 2019 in the session of 2019 and 20, this question was asked in one of the sets of your board examination. So this question is always important, and you must write down the answer of this question. The modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and stress. And what are the ways in which that we attempt to overcome them? What are the ways that we attempt to overcome this? Means we are not living in the world of old days, and because here the the modern world, since modern world for Charlie, the narrator, the modern world is full of insecurity and fear. War threatens human existence, means all those things he was considering, and worries and stress keeps him crushed. He the harsh realities of life make his living quite unpleasant and bitter. That's why he attempts to overcome them through daydreams and wishful thinking. And he was also thinking that perhaps his grandfathers, in the days of his grandfather, that he did not need any refuge from reality, because the things were pretty nice and peaceful in his days in 1894. And Charlie in this story remains sad and unhappy in his contemporary world. So he just wants to escape, and he wanders down into the third level. And the third level is nothing but a medium of escape for him, for Charlie, the narrator. And he wanders into the world of romance and fancy. So it is of the world of 1894 which he wants to escape in. So it is the world of, like, so many things which he experienced when he went on the third level. Like, it was the world of derby hats, beards, sideburns, fancy mustaches. This means the people were quite relaxed. The people could have frame houses, big old wooden houses. And that people, it was full of huge lawns, tremendous trees were there, full of greenery. And people were also, they had a lot of time there. They could play piano, they could meet with each other, they could do party, they could sing songs. Means all these things you know fascinated him a lot, which he experienced at the third level and through the letter of Sam. And that's why that he wanted to, what are the ways in which, and through that he just wanted to escape through the third level. He wanted to escape from the harsh realities of modern day life to the relaxed and comfortable, fancy and romantic world of 1894, as he finds himself incompatible into the modern contemporary world of 20th century, which is full of rush, stress, sadness and all. And what are the ways in which that we attempt to overcome? And another thing also you can add, that means uh, his habit, his hobby of stamp collecting, that was also a temporary refuge from the harsh realities of life. So these things you can mention in your answer and you can attempt, because this is very important question. You can do that in that way. Do you see an intersection of time? Definitely you can see the intersection of time from present to past, from past to present, and even that some part of the future is also mentioned there. So you can also add that. Apparently apparent illogicality sometimes turns out to be a futuristic projection. Discuss, that you can also discuss. But these questions are important: the question number 1, question number 3 and question number 4. These questions, that answer you have to write in 120 to 150 words each. I think the time has already been over, students. That's all for today, and you must write the answers of these important questions in your notebook. So that's all for today, students. Thank you and have a good day.